highly professional caregivers. What makes us professional?
Representing the company.
Yeah, and so that means you want to do a good job to represent, the company you work for. Us, Aspen. Anything else make you professional?
It's always good to have boundaries and make sure that you keep within the parameters of your profession and
Okay.
not sort of overlap, because then you
Give us
create
an idea
problems.
of what you mean. What kind of a boundary?
Well, I think primarily focusing on the client, their life and their happenings, and not ours, to keep our lives out of theirs, so that we're completely focused on them.
Mhm. And if I can just add to that just a tiny bit, and yes, we are speaking to the choir. However, you can pass it along. It's so easy when you fall in love with your client and they fall in love with you, and they think of you as a granddaughter or a daughter, and they love you to pieces. So they want to share, maybe unburden themselves. And so it's easy for us to say, I know exactly what you need. I did. We don't want to go that route. We're there to uplift and make their day more positive, not give them more things to worry about, because they love us. And so that means when we say, oh my gosh, we just don't have enough money to pay, or I'm retired and I don't have money, or my car broke down, or my child's sick, that's just making the weight on their shoulders even more. We want to go in happy and enthusiastic and cheerful and do anything we can to leave them happier and feeling better about life than when we got there. So just keep that in mind. Anything else? Yeah, Kathy.
I think being as detailed as you can in the job that needs to be done to finish through, make sure that it's what they want, what they need, and it's done properly.
Yeah. Did everyone hear Kathy? Okay. Really quickly to that, we did mention that. Or what?
I was just going to say, to reiterate, because they can't hear.
Okay, thank you. Just to make sure we do a good job, that we don't just do a half job, that we make sure we cover all the bases and do things thoroughly. So many times I go into homes and the family members will say, the other company that we had, the caregiver would just come and sit on the couch and be on their phone all day, or they'll, do their bare minimum and then they sit on the couch and are on their phone the rest of the time that they have. And so say, what can I do? Or and a lot of people don't like to have to tell you what to do. So just be observant. Does a floor need to be mopped? Does a bathroom need to be freshened? Do garbages need to be emptied? Could you really take a few extra minutes rather than just make the bed and change the linens on it if they need to be done? I mean, there are just so many things that we can be aware of just to go the extra mile and make sure that we're doing a really good job. So thanks. The one thing I do want to bring up that we seem to be struggling with, two things. One, calling in last minute, very last minute, 10 minutes before your shift should start, when you should be on your way there or almost there, calling in sick, or I can't make it, or my child's sick, or whatever is happening in your life. Surely 10 minutes before we call, before our shift. Please give us as much warning as you can. That doesn't mean we want to call at 3 o'clock in the morning, but at a decent hour, call if there's a problem. We understand life happens, but it makes so much stress and our job so much harder to try and scramble last minute to find someone out there that can go. that wasn't planning on it just right now, you know? So keep that in mind. And then the other thing, because our clients love us, if we're late, they worry. Seniors are home in their four walls all day with not a lot going on. So what do you think they're doing? Their wheels are turning. They're thinking. 2 minutes, my caregiver's 2 minutes late. She's always 5 minutes early. Where is she? What's happened? Well, 2 minutes doesn't seem like anything to us, but it might seem like the world's going to end to our client who loves us and is worried that we've had an accident in the snow or the ice or what have you. So please be courteous there again to them by being on time, which is what it really is on time. 5 minutes early. Yeah. So we appreciate you. We couldn't do it without you. We love you and you are wonderful. Just some little things to just kind of refresh our memories on things that we can improve on. Do I have just another minute or two? Every month we get this report, third party. They call 10% of our clients every month and ask them questions about us, about the office staff, about the caregivers, how we're doing. And so it's kind of fun to hear what our very own clients have to say about us. So I'm just going to read a few. Let's see. The question is, how well are caregivers matched with your needs and preferences? And this one person said, I appreciate that the caregivers are consistent and have good communication with us. So, which means if there's a problem in the home, you don't just leave the house and go on your merry way and it gets dropped there. Call the office, let us know, speak to the family, whatever. Over communicate, much better than under communicating. Okay. How would you rate the ability of your caregivers to provide the care needed? This one said, one thing they do well is stay conscious of my mother's needs. So there again, just like we were saying, you know, don't just do the minimum, really make yourself aware of their needs, you know, not just what's on the paper that we should do, but they may have other things that we can take care of. Another one, how would you rate the impact of the services on your daily life? This gal said, it is absolutely necessary. I have people who take care of me and they really care. Another one on the same gal, how well are the caregivers matched with your needs and preferences, just like the other one? I really like the caregivers I really like the care. The caregivers are so nice and they will take me and no, see, I can't see. They will talk to me and seem interested in my conversations. So they feel like they're important, that they have something to contribute when we are truly interested and love to hear their stories. How many love to hear our senior stories? They're amazing. I learned so much, you know. Oh, when I was a young caregiver and I took care of two little sisters that lived together in their home, and they, you know, back then it was a lot more popular, and I don't even know if they sell them anymore, but knee-high nylons, and they would, and they always had a little, you know, ridge there, and they would cut those off when the nylons could not be worn anymore, and they used them as like a rubber band to put their stack of mail, you know, to hold their mail together. That has stuck with me for 100 years. And anyway, clients are wonderful, and we can learn so much. Not that I cut off the tops of my knee highs that I don't wear anymore, but you know what I mean. Okay, let's see. These all seem to be a kind of along the same lines, but this last one, how well are caregivers, there again, matched to your needs and preferences? And this gal said, I really like that she is very caring. We are not just, hi, okay, I'm gonna go clean your bathroom. All right, I took care of this and this and this, I'll see you later. We had a male caregiver who took care of a gentleman on Friday nights just for companionship. His wife was burned out. She needed a break. So our male caregiver would call the night before and say, Joe, how are you? I'm doing okay. What are you doing tomorrow? Nothing. How would you like it if I came over and we popped some popcorn and watched a movie? Oh, I'd love that. It wasn't just, okay, I'm here. What do you want to talk about tonight? Or he was a genuine friend. This guy was truly excited that another male, his friend, was coming to do something fun with him on a Friday night. What a world of difference it makes in our attitudes and how we feel about those that we care for. So I will let Teresa come up and introduce our special guests.
I am so excited to hear from Sherry and Jennifer today. Their program is amazing. I stopped by, I don't know if Jennifer mentioned, a few weeks ago, just unannounced, and I wanted to observe the boxing that they provide for these seniors, and I was just blown away. I went home and I was like, amazing program. So I will turn the time over to you and can't wait to hear.
Great. Okay. Hi, everyone. Thanks for having us. As Teresa said, my name is Sherry, and I run and coach and live and breathe Rock Steady Boxing, which is a boxing program for people with Parkinson's. That is the only clientele that we serve, just because that sometimes gets asked. We do have a few Parkinson's plus diagnoses that we work with, but the whole program is designed specifically for Parkinson's. And so we're going to share a little bit. Jennifer's with me today. She's a fighter and she's also one of my coaches. She's fantastic. So she's going to share a little bit in a moment. So the plan for the day is I'm going to make you watch a video. Those of you on Zoom, you're going to get the link. So fear not, because you're not going to be able to see it right now. But you're going to watch a video that says more about Rock Steady than I could ever hope to. I'll go over kind of the history of how it got started, what we do, why we do what we do, talk about the programs that are local to this area and how we can help people. Jennifer's going to share a little bit about starting to fight back with us whenever she started and kind of her journey. It's been amazing. And then if we have time, we're going to do a little bit of a demo. She brought her gloves, I think, and I have my mitts. And so we'll show you what we do a little bit. So without further ado, I'm going to start this video. Hopefully the sound will still work. And it's about 4 minutes long, but it's worth it. All right, so that's Rock Steady for you. All right, no, stop. I didn't know that was on there. I didn't know we were going to make me look. Sorry. I bring the fun wherever I go. Okay, all right. So that gives you a better indication of what we do than I probably ever could. So Rock Steady Boxing in Utah. Okay, so history of Rock Steady Boxing, where they started. You met Scott Newman on that video. He was a district attorney in the state of Indianapolis, or Indiana, and whenever he got Parkinson's, like it kind of alluded to, he was doing so poorly whenever he was first diagnosed that literally his doctor was like, go home, get your wheelchair, have a nice day, and that was it. That was all he was given. And 15 some years ago, that's what people were told whenever they were diagnosed. There wasn't a big focus on exercise, it was like, here's med, hope that works. If not, bye, see you later. And so that was where he was left. And thank God he had this friend who was a cop, who was a boxer, that got him in a ring. And that's really where it started, a very small gym in Indianapolis. Christy Rose Fulmer, who was the redhead on the video, she's a world championship women's fighter and a boxer, not MMA, but boxer. So he got with her and some other people and started Rock Steady. The whole point, and I always say it's non-contact boxing because people get real nervous if you say boxing and Parkinson's, are like, what? Everybody thinks of Muhammad Ali, and we want to make sure people know they're not getting hit in the face. You guys saw that. We have mitts, they have bags, and sometimes they get to hit us with the body gear on, and they really enjoy that. But our whole point is non-contact boxing inspired workouts, and you saw some of that other work in there, and I'll talk about a little bit more how we do what we do. But really the purpose of our class is every single thing we do from the moment we walk in the door to the moment they walk out the door needs to be focused on some symptom of Parkinson's. So from the beginning, when we do our vocalizations, people with Parkinson's, okay, so we're going to make them get loud all the time in the gym. That's the point of it. Then we stretch, we do a safe warm-up, we do the cardio. I'm going to talk about how some of that works nicely with Parkinson's. We work on things like balance, agility, symmetry of movement, posture, constant nagging. I always tell my gentlemen, you just gained like 5 other wives in your life to nag you about your posture and your arm swings every single time you're in the gym. They love that, said no one ever. And so a big part of the program, and you saw in that video, that was headquarters gym. So they're in Indianapolis. They host about 260 fighters. COVID took that number down and they're building back up. And so their location is huge and it's just an amazing place. And so typically a head coach like myself will go to Indianapolis to be trained there. We trained with their movement disorder specialists at the University of Indianapolis and learn on the floor with them what they do with their fighters. And so that's a big part to get certified. Coaches that are kind of on the ground at an existing affiliate, like I have an existing affiliate, whenever Jennifer became a coach, she does online training to be certified and then trains with me on our gym floor because I mimic exactly what headquarters does. So I'm very proud of this. We were the very first affiliate in Utah ever. There's some now, there are more, but whenever I moved to Utah about seven years ago, I guess, I started boxing at Legends Boxing Gym. I boxed for about 11 years and I love it. And I walked into Legends Boxing and I saw this 80-year-old guy in the ring with our head coach at the time. And I'm like, what's going on with that? He's doing the mitts and he's looking awesome. And the only thing that was remarkable was that he was 80, right? I was like, I just usually don't see that. So I was talking to him and he, as soon as he took his gloves off and started walking towards his water, I noticed a little bit of a shuffle and I noticed his tremor. And I've worked in healthcare. I didn't say that about myself. I'm a medical social worker for about the past 21 years, long-term care and hospice primarily. And so I saw that and I was like, oh, okay, I see Parkinson's a little bit. So I'm talking to Tom and I'm like, hey, what are you doing here? You know, I've never heard of Rock Steady. And he's like, well, he goes, you know, I saw this special on Leslie Stahl. She did it on the Sunday morning special news show. And there's nothing in Utah for boxing and Parkinson's. And so I called this gym and this nice guy, he pointed to our head coach that he trained me. And he's like, you know, I've been doing it about 8 weeks and I've come off my antidepressants and I haven't fallen once. And I went back to work 1 day a week. I was like, he's like 80. I'm like, okay. And so I was like, okay, I got to know about this. And so I Googled boxing and Parkinson's and popped Rock Steady. And I learned that you could go be trained and start your own affiliate. And there was none in Utah. And social workers by trade were about empowerment and making sure people have what they need. I love boxing. I love empowerment. I love hitting things. And so I just put it all together. And here we are. So we're the first affiliate in Utah. I've got 5 locations now. We're 5.5 years old in the state. There are others. They're down in St. George. There's some in Sugar House, one in Park City. But I always say I wanted to like conquer the valley, and I feel like we have thus far. But now, and I had to change this number. It's kind of made me sad. So before COVID came along, we were up to about 900 affiliates worldwide and everywhere: Japan, Norway, Sweden, Ireland, the UK. It's really grown. After COVID, we're at about 700. Some just were so small, it was real hard to be sustainable. But we're building back up, and I've seen our own program. We went from about 155 to 160 fighters, dropped down to like, I don't even know what, 50, 60 maybe. We're doing Zoom. It was terrible. No offense, Zoom. And now we're back up to about 125 fighters. So slowly growing back again. And then my locations right now, we're in Orem here. We're in Lehigh, Sandy, Riverton, and Bountiful. And Heber is coming soon. So, and I point to Jen because that's where she lives. So, okay. So we already saw the video. I wanted to start with that. So this is just some pictures of like, again, the headquarters gym is ginormous. Our gyms are a little bit smaller scale. We don't have 75,000 speed bags and things like that, but working outside of a Legends boxing gym, we do have a full set of heavy bags. We have speed bags, double in bags. We have rings that we can get into and use for exercises. And these are just some of my early days with my fighters and some of the things we use. My husband being beaten down. He was our first volunteer. So that's very important, of course. So the basics of the program, basically, whenever we have somebody who has Parkinson's who's interested, what I always ask them for, even before what's up here, is to come watch a class, just exactly what Teresa did. Hop in, see what we do. People will call me, and what Joyce said on the video about how if somebody gets diagnosed, the goal is for their doctor to say, go fight back, here's a gym. That is happening today. It is happening. I get calls every single week saying, I just got diagnosed. My doctor said I had to call you. And I'm like, yes. So that is happening. But what I want people to be able to do is come in and see what we do, because I know myself, I don't have Parkinson's, and it took me about 3 weeks, 4 weeks maybe, to get to my first boxing class, because it's intimidating, right? You're like, what is going to happen to me? So people, if they come watch our classes, talk to our coaches, meet our fighters. I'm like, I own and run the program. Of course, I'm going to tell you it's awesome. Go talk to some people who do it. And so they come in and watch class, especially my coaches that also are fighters, because they are 100% the real deal. They can see, and like people, I'm sorry, Jen, to point at you all the time. And like, you don't even freaking know she has Parkinson's. I mean, look at her. So, and they see that and they're like, what? And so that's pretty amazing. So I want them to come watch a class. And then if they love it, which they will, we bring them in for what we call a pre-fight checkup. And we just do some easy balance testing, a little bit of endurance testing, and get a nice baseline. And we're going to try to retest every 6 months, because I really want to see where my folks are, what progress we're making, what we need to work on more. Again, we've got the 75 to 90 minutes of forced intense exercise. And it's that type of exercise that we know by virtue of studies that are being done, it's what's called neuroprotective. And so if I am getting out of my comfort zone, cardio-wise, sweating a little bit of out of breath, to their own capabilities though. You guys saw the little lady who said her family laughed at her. Okay, she's probably not doing 75 burpees in a minute or anything like that, but she's working to her level. And I've got athletes like Jennifer who work to her level, which she could kick my butt in the gym any day she wanted to. And so we get them to where they're a little bit of forced intense activity. That type of activity helps dopamine be produced more readily by the body, and also helps it move more readily throughout the body. So all of a sudden, those tremors tend to dissipate even without the meds being so high. I've had a lot of fighters who come off some of their meds, maybe not all, some have come off all for a while with their doctor. They don't just willy-nilly do it. And it affects everybody a little bit different, but we tend to see balance get better, movements get bigger, stepping get higher, things like that. Arm swings get more symmetrical by virtue of this type of exercise. Again, non-contact, no sparring or hitting each other, although I've been hit in the face a couple times doing this, I will say that. And the way our program works, and this might be kind of cool for you all, is like paid caregivers that go into people's homes, typically whenever their family might be outside working and things like that. We've had a couple people, if we have somebody who has severe balance issues, they have safety issues, they have cognitive issues that make it hard for them to follow what's happening in class, I figure that out at the initial evaluation. And then I say to them, I need you to have a corner person with you. And so if you guys, how many of you have seen Rocky? Anybody seen Rocky? You know, the little white haired guy, Mickey, that's in the corner with him, that's his corner man, right? He's his supporter. He's his cheerer honor. He yells at him if he's not doing things right. That's what a corner is in our gym. And so a lot of times if somebody has a need to have somebody with them on the gym floor, they're going to have that assigned corner. okay? And so that's where sometimes, like, we've had a couple of people at our Lehigh location, especially, who have had paid caregivers during the day, and one of their jobs is to bring them to boxing, and those people are like, this is the best thing ever. So, I mean, who will want to spend like 2 hours in our gym? It's just that fun, what you guys saw. And so then the other part of our program is for folks like Jennifer, for instance, who obviously she's not going to need any help getting around the gym. She doesn't need assistance during class. She has the ability to, if she wants to, bring a corner with her just to do the workout with her. And so her son comes a lot, and there's no charge for that. It's just part of our program. It's kind of in a family affair whenever you start caring for somebody with Parkinson's, among many other long-term chronic illnesses. And so we like for people to get involved and have a piece of that. And it makes people feel empowered. It's also really great stress relief for partners, care partners. And then our classes are led by certified coaches. We have volunteers. We're always looking for more volunteers, and our trained staff members. So any questions about that? Yes.
I'm just wondering, would this be effective for people with MS?
You know, we don't allow that in our program. The neurologist that trained us at headquarters spoke about that. The problem with that, with this program and with MS, is a lot of times they found that work as intense as we work will actually tend to exacerbate the symptoms of MS. It's not really good for them like it is for Parkinson's. Now, there are exercise programs throughout the city. The University of Utah has one. I'm not sure if there's any down here that are more like broad scale for neurological disorders, and they do kind of cater to that. But for Rocksteady, some of the work we do is a little bit too intense, and people find their symptoms getting a lot worse, which is not good.
That's interesting, because I know someone who has MS, and they actually find that because of exercise, they go biking, skiing, whatever, it's actually improved their circumstances, you know, where they were going right up to their waist and not able to walk.
Well, there's no doubt that some exercise can be good for anybody. This particular type, again, and that's why Rocksteady is really, it feels really bad sometimes when people call me and they're like, I have this, can I come? I'm like, no, Rocksteady is very specific about being Parkinson's only for a few reasons, but that's one in particular that I get a lot of, I used to get a lot of calls on, that I specifically asked to remember from training. And they're like, sometimes it just exasperates things with the high level of work that we do. So, okay, so the research. So what we know about what we are doing, the Parkinson's Foundation just recently put out some research in this past year saying that people with Parkinson's fare really well if they have about 150 minutes per week of activity. Okay, so 150 minutes per week of activity, including 4 components: cardio, which is what we do with the boxing; strength training, which can be weight training or body weight training, so like things like squats and sit to stands, the more functional things; balance work, so practicing balance. We do a lot of one-footed standing in our classes all the time. And then a whole variety of what they call multitasking activity. You know, can you walk and bounce the ball at the same time and say the alphabet too? And so we do have a lot of that in our classes. We have fine motor skills, we have cognition. Every single time our fighters get a combo out on the bag, it's because I've called a set of numbers, and in their minds, they go 1, 2, 3, 8. 1, 2, 3, 8. So that's cognitive work all the time. So those 4 types of activity is what's proven to be best for people with Parkinson's. A total of 2 of our classes per week will hit the 150 minutes minimum. Research shows that if you do more than that, you do better. And so we encourage our fighters to do more than 2 classes a week if they possibly can. Rocksteady Boxing has some really cool results. They've studied a lot in the past 2 to 3 years about Rocksteady specifically, not just like exercise in general. So our fighters show an increase in walking speed. They show improved balance. And this is a huge one: increased perception of quality of life. Because if you feel like, you feel like you have great quality of life, and if you feel confident, you're going to live a better life. And that's what I see my fighters, you know, it's like 60% physical and 40% emotional for my fighters. I've had people come in that they're like, I haven't really left my house in 2 years. I don't like going out with Parkinson's because people can see it, and I don't enjoy it, and I don't feel confident, and I might fall down. 6 weeks in, and they're like, I feel a lot better. I feel like I can maybe go back out to the store again. One of my fighters has been with me literally since the beginning. He's one who had not been out in 2 years socially before he started coming to our program. And we opened in August, and we had a Christmas party at my house. We were small enough at that time to have it at my house in December. And that was the first time he'd been out socially in over 2 years. And his wife was just in tears. She's like, I cannot believe he's out doing this. So it's major for confidence as well. And then this is my favorite. We just had a fighter in Orem. Actually, she posted it on her Facebook. She said, I started boxing 2 months ago, and I just gotten this brand new fancy walker. It's been in the corner since it got delivered because I haven't needed it since. Hello. And it's true. She looks like a new person, and she comes 3 times a week, and she's fantastic. And so we see people throwing away. I love it whenever people leave their canes and their walkers in the gym because they walked out without them. They didn't even need them. I'm like, okay, that's great. People feel stronger. They decrease their meds. They have improved mood, increased social interaction. All of the things that we need to be healthy are happening in our gym, and general awesomeness, just because they are. And you'll notice I say fighters. I never say patient. If somebody calls somebody a patient in my gym, they will get throat punched, and all my people know how to do that. So they are fighters. They are there to fight back, take control of their lives. They can be patient somewhere else. And I have a lot of people say this is the one place I go where I don't even feel like I have Parkinson's, which is huge, huge, huge. So most commonly asked questions. 5 locations, we run 25 classes per week. A boxer can attend as many classes as they would like per week. I've got some fighters who love it so much they drive between 2 to get in 5 or 6 times a week. Most of them do 2 to 3 times per week, but again, some like to do more, and that's just fine. We have a monthly membership fee. It's unlimited classes. There's no contract, and I will work with anybody based on what they can pay. I've got a set fee. Somebody can't do it, we'll find something that works for them. So nobody's ever turned away, but nobody boxes for free because they gotta have a little bit of skin in the game. So even if it's $5 a month, they're like, well, I paid my $5, I better go to class this month, and that's fine. We work with anyone, and we teach everybody what they need to know about boxing. We do teach USA certified boxing, so people are trained in our gyms as though they're gonna step into the ring for a sparring match. They learn the footwork, they learn 8 punches, they learn all of the defensive moves, and that is part of what makes boxing so lovely for people, because it works on things like posture and balance, stability and stature. So blah, blah, blah. I'm going to skip this, but I will give you the link to send to everybody. This is just another video on research. And then what questions do you have?
I think you may have answered it, but I was wondering, are you referred by a doctor sometimes? I mean, to your program, and would that be covered by insurance?
Unfortunately, like Medicare and Medicaid are not going to cover us yet, I say, because we're not a certified therapy. So none of us are physical therapists. Now, there are some rock steadies that run out of therapy offices. We just happen to think a boxing gym is cooler. So there's not a billable code for rock steady boxing right now. However, I have had some fighters that have like a private insurance that have a wellness stipend. And so they might do like $100 a month towards it, or, $500 a year. They can turn in the receipts and get reimbursed. Another question I get a lot is, are we silver sneakers? And we are not. And that's because if you are, you have to follow a certain criteria for classes. That doesn't even come close to what we do. So we're not silver sneakers certified. But again, because of those reasons, I don't ever want anybody not to come. And so I will always work with people on cost without any trouble whatsoever. Physicians are a huge place people hear about us, but a lot of times it's just word of mouth. It might be at a senior center, it might be at a church or a ward, and so we get people from all over the place. So, but we always do require a physician's release. Like if somebody's going to start with us, we always make sure their doctor does know that they're starting, just to know if there's anything we need to watch for. Any other questions? Yes.
How does that be volunteer?
Oh, you can talk to me. Yes. Definitely. It's so fun. It is
I
so
met a patient when I worked at your office, and I'm betting that this is the boxing that he was doing. He had Parkinson's. It was remarkable.
Probably
He
so.
just loved it.
Yay.
Loved it. And I was like, that is so freaking awesome.
It is awesome. Like I have goosebumps thinking about it. It's the best job ever.
Shape,
Good. Oh, good. Yeah, absolutely. Talk to me about it. We definitely need volunteers for sure. Anyone else? And one thing I do want to say, like, you're seeing a level 1 top of my red corner fighting, whenever you're going to see Jennifer in a minute. We do serve all stages of Parkinson's, all levels. We have people in wheelchairs, we have people with walkers, we have people who come in with their quarters and they have gait belts. So just because somebody is debilitated to the point of even being chair bound does not mean that they cannot benefit for this. And sometimes we're the only place where those people are getting up, you know, throughout an hour and a half time span and practicing some of those things they don't get a whole lot of work on in other ways. And so for sure, don't let that be a deterrent as far as getting people in. So, okay, I'm shutting up. Thanks, guys.
Okay, I'm just gonna let you
Okay, a little background on me. I have had Parkinson's for 7 years, but I was misdiagnosed initially at 49. I went in and I had a little back and forth in stressful situations in my left foot. And I brought it up to my OB and he sent me to a friend. They did a neurologist, and they sent me, did some testing and said to me that I had a stress-induced tremor and suggested that I reduce the stress in my life. And sent me kind of on my way. So for the next 4 years, I struggled. I knew something was wrong with my body, but I kept saying the neurologist said that you're fine. It's just stress. It's just stress. So I went from a little movement in my left foot to my left toes constantly being curled in my shoe. I started choking when I was eating. I lost the left arm swing, and I'd had surgery. So I thought, well, maybe he nicked a nerve and that's it. So to combat that, because people noticed that I always put my hand in my pocket, I started to become antisocial, which is not me. I withdrew from everything, including family. I became really lonely. I was very emotional. And then we moved. We were building a home up here. So we moved from Southern California up here, and my husband was commuting back and forth. I also don't sleep. And so I can be up for over 30 hours at a time without sleeping. Restless legs at night. So nighttime is my enemy. And so I would read. And as I was reading, I realized I do have something more than stress-induced tremor. So I went into the doctor, who told me that I had signs of MS, but I was a little bit old. I had signs of Parkinson's, but I was a little young. And then he said, mental illness runs in your family. This could be mental illness, and you're doing this to yourself. He had me take a test. Panic attacks come with Parkinson's, so Costco can set me off if there's a lot of crowds. Disneyland, we had Disneyland passes, big crowds would start it, and it would put me into panic. So he said because I was suffering from panic, he thought that it was a mental thing. It was not. So I got scheduled with a neurologist, and he came into the office. He was very uncaring and unkind. He did some basic things. He said, yes, you don't walk right, you don't swing your arm, your face is blank. You probably have Parkinson's, but we'll do a DAT scan. So I had a DAT scan done. At that point, my tremor was so bad that in the tube, you're in kind of an MRI tube, my whole body was just shaking. And that was a Friday, and I had done research, and I was looking over the radiologist's shoulder, and I could see my DAT scan, and I knew what I had. But you denied it. So I took my husband back to work that Monday, back to the airport to fly back to California to work. I got a phone call that afternoon and nobody was home. And my neurologist nurse said to me, we got your DAT scan results. They're consistent with Parkinson's. What pharmacy do you use? And that's how I was told I had Parkinson's. So my dad is a retired physician, and I called my dad with the news that night. And my dad said to me, you're going to find a gym and you're going to start boxing. So I looked online and found Rock City Boxing, and I called Sherry, and it was very loud in the background. She had just finished doing a workout, and she said she was enthusiastic and excited, and she said, come watch us box. And we said, when can we come? And she said, come tomorrow. So we went the next day, my husband and I. Walked in the gym, was greeted by boxers. People gave me a hug. People welcomed me. People told me their stories. Sherry included me from the beginning in the getting to know you question. We always start with the getting to know you question, which helps us in vocalization and just getting to know each other. She included me in that. Throughout the workout, she came over and explained things that were happening. At the end of the workout, we always pull together and put our hands in and we do a cheer, and Sherry pulled me in for that too. And my husband turned to her after the cheer and said, she's starting this. How do we sign up? And that was the start of giving me my life back. So I get emotional because Parkinson's is not just old people anymore. Parkinson's is people in their 30s, people in their 40s, it's young people too. And that was hard for me to be young and have a disease that old people have. But this is my community. So for me, within weeks, my arm swing came back. I started getting body confidence back. I started getting left arm movement a lot better. My tremor became less and less. I was able to control a lot more of my symptoms. I became a part of a community. I felt normal. When I'm in the gym, I feel normal for that hour and a half. She works our rear ends off. I want that. I want to do something normal. And if I have a day where I'm symptomatic, nobody asks, why are you shaking? Are you cold? Or, are you upset because my face might be, be kind of blank or things like that. Nobody cares and nobody asks. And when I'm coaching, if I'm having a symptomatic day, I can say, one of those days, I'm a little off, just hang with me today, or, my cognitive's a little bad, and everybody understands. It's a time for us as boxers to be able to say, hey, has somebody tried CBD oil for panic? Does it work? Do you like your neurologist? No, I don't like them at all. I love mine. Who do you use? Where I was able to get into the best neurologist, in my opinion, in Utah, from the one that was the worst. It's a time for us. If there's a boxer that just is frustrated and goes and sits down, another boxer is going to come over and go, come on, and take him with me and go, let's go. It's your family, and it's a community. And Sherry and her husband worked very hard at that. She doesn't give you an easy workout. It's not. My son, who's very in shape and boxes with me on Saturdays, says, Mom, that's the closest I've come to throwing up ever working out. Sherry's tricky. She'll ask us, what's our least favorite exercise? Because you're going to see it on the workout next day. It is community, though. It does give you your life back. Every neurologist should be handing their patients this and saying, go to this and go see and let it change. And it's not, we have an 80-year-old that can do 50 push-ups and no problem at all on the side of the ring. It is amazing what it does, but just mentally to feel normal and to be somewhere where everybody else is just like you. Understands it's the one place in the world for me that I don't have to put my hand in my pocket. I don't have to worry if my face is blank, if I'm giving you the news with the weather. It's just okay. And so for me, it has been life-changing, and those are my friends. That's why I drive 45 minutes to come work out. I live in Heber, so I drive to come work out in Lehigh or in Orem because it's that important to me. So
Awesome. Here you go. Okay, so we have like 5 minutes. You guys want to sit down? Yes. She's gonna get her wraps on real fast. We're gonna do a little bit of bit work, just so you can kind of get a sense of what it's like. Bit work. We do a lot of most of our classes on heavy bags that are about 80 to 90 pound bags that hang from a chain system, and that's really good for great cardio. It helps them be able to hit really hard. And focus. We have, like I said, punches that we teach them. And so if I call a combo, they're throwing the punches. Mitt work is really kind of cool as a coach. And I think as a fighter as well, you would say, I guess it's a little bit more intimate because we're constantly working in sync. And we always tell our fighters they have to work on precision, not power, when we're doing this, because some of them hit really hard. I would not want to get in a bar fight with some of these people, and so they can really hurt me as a coach if they're not careful with that. But we'll just kind of show you how that looks for a little bit.
Can I just say really quickly, two things? I was so impressed with how quote unquote normal the workouts are. I mean, I'm a big workout person, and I don't know what I had previously notioned in my brain what this was going to be like, but I could not get over the fact that you have these people do burpees.
Yep.
I mean, I hate burpees. So the way they are
they're really hard.
And to see an 80-year-old do a burpee, I was amazed. And the second thing is, when they were on the bags punching and your coach was calling out combos, by like round 8 or 9, I don't know, it was nothing. I was like, I can't even remember what order 1, 3, 5, 7 I have. So
I was very impressed with.
Thank you. They are super impressive. I always laugh, like people are like, oh, boxing for Parkinson's, that's so cute. Like people say that, I'm like, come to a class with us. Let's see how cute that is. Because we have like adult children that come in and they think they are so tough. Because right, they're 20 and they're in shape. They are like in the bathroom or on the ground. I'm like, yeah, tell me again how cute my fighters are. Don't even start. So yeah, that's the goal. What was it? Muhammad Ali, impossible is nothing. So they can do all the things. Okay, so she's understand. So I'm just gonna call a couple of you just so you know which one to do. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 8. Good. 1, 2, 3, 8. Oop. I'm gonna move you all the way around so they can still see. 1, 1, 2, 2, 2. Good. 5, 5, 4, 5, 4, 3, 8. So we stay flat. Okay, well, stop 1s and 2s. Say 20 of them. Fast. 1, 2, 3, 4. Stop. Miss Jennifer. Okay, if anybody else has any questions, come see me. If you want to volunteer, come see me. And thank you for having us. It's been since COVID that we've gotten to do anything in person, so thank you for having us.